Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maryland Apex Accelerator webinar today. Glad you could join us. I'm your host, Yasmin Razak. I'm the Marketing and Training Coordinator here. Today's topic is how to find what the government is buying by using effective market research. And it is led by Akiesha Foster, who is the founder of KeyToLife Professional Services, LLC. We'll get started very shortly. There will be opportunities for you to ask Akiesha your questions by typing them in the chat box on your screen. And we will pause for Q&A throughout the presentation. We will also pause for a 5-minute break at the top of the hour. As always, this is being recorded and a copy of the slides will be sent to you later today. For those of you who are not familiar with the Maryland Apex Accelerator, it's our mission to help Maryland businesses to compete in federal, state, and local government procurement processes. Our services are no cost to you. If you'd like to speak with a counselor, please complete our application form on our website, marylandapex.org. And currently it's taking about 30 business days to be assigned a counselor. Okay, well, good morning, Akiesha. You can take it away. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and
Thank you. Okay, so good morning, and welcome to another one of our trainings. And all of this is to help you to just be better in the government contracting space. And if you want to learn more about me, your instructor, you can just read my bio. And then you can also look at it in the chat. In the notes section, I put everything in there. But today we have to get started. We got a lot to cover in the time frame, and I want to make sure we have plenty of time for that. Today we're going to walk through you. Today's goal is that I walk you through step by step through creating your own market research system. It's a system, and using a free resource like Google Tools so you can start immediately identifying real opportunities, right? Immediately after this training, and you can do it while we're doing this training. But the point is, we want to make sure you can hit the ground running and that you get started and with the less amount of resistance. And that's why we put these trainings on, because we know it takes time to get into the counseling sessions. You know, we're managing the whole state of Maryland, so sometimes it takes time. But in the interim, while you're waiting, we're giving you tools and resources so that way you can keep moving and progressing in your government contracting space. Because it's not enough to just do the research. It's just not enough. You got to organize it. Then you have to be able to act on it. Market intelligence must be stored, sorted, and used to build those relationships with those team and partners, with agencies, and also to win work. If you're not organized, you're just not gonna. It's just gonna make it more hard. Okay. So what we'll cover today, we're going to talk about the folder and your file setup. All right. NAICS codes, PSC codes, and in the lookup. Then I'm going to do a live SAM and US spending demo because I want you to see how it all works and how it all ties together. Your opportunity tracker and Intel brief template. I'm showing you how to build those tools to make you successful. Whether you are, are you trying to do coaching, consulting, if you're trying to be administration, HR, whatever, you can use these tools to help you be successful, common mistakes to avoid, and then prepare for your counseling session. And then the Q&A. Although we do have the opportunity for you to go through the slides with us, the goal is to make sure that when you leave, you have everything and that you can hit the ground running. Okay. So also my goal today is not just to give you this information, is to help you build something that you can actually use. Many times we get the training, we've done all the theory, now it's time to apply it. And many times we do not apply it. And how can you use anything if you do not apply it? So I'm going to go to you with you step by step through setting up your market research system, using those tools you already have, and most of you already do, have access to Google Sheets, Google Docs, your calendar, and the Google Drive. All right. You'll leave with templates. We're going to go over the real world, how to add it to your tracker and processes you can use right away because you want to be able to implement this information right away. And then for you who've never done government market research before, this is definitely for you. So that way you can be able to hit the ground running. Okay, this is not about just taking action at best. You just have to know how to use the tools. And then everything that we're using today is going to be free and budget friendly, because we always, when you first getting started, you have to be very cautious of that budget. And then beginner friendly. Okay, so that's what we're covering today. But before we get started, I just want to know who's in the audience so I know how to shift. All right. What stage is your business in? Are you pre launch? Are you brand new, just getting started? You're still registering? I'm exploring. I've registered in SAM, but haven't found opportunities yet. I'm active. I've submitted proposals or responded to, market research, or I'm subcontracting looking to grow toward more prime contracts, and then you're still trying to figure it all out. That's what we want to know, who's in the training. And then I'm targeting a specific agency and just want more information, because that helps me to really gauge the audience, so that way I'm making sure I'm covering everybody, because we have the pre-launches and the training, we have the newborn, the new, brand new, and then I'm exploring, we have so many in the audience, so I always want to make sure I'm covering so we pretty much have a little bit of everybody in the audience today. So that's good to know. So I'm just going to keep going. All right. Because I don't want to, because we got a lot to cover. So I want to just keep going. All right. Now, all right, manual first. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our manual system first. Okay, today's focus is doing the market research manually. Okay, so you have to have all those systems step by step so you can understand the process. And then we're going to be using the Google Sheets, the Docs, the calendar, and the Gmail. All are what you're going to need to get started today. This is a hands-on interactive approach, so it helps you build your strategy and your confidence, because this is some of the things we do in our counseling sessions. We're here to guide you and help you when you come in, and the more that you have done prior to the counseling session, then we can help you more, because then we'll be able to get more done in those sessions. So all of this training is designed to help you get started quickly. And then most of you, some of you have not even generated income yet. So you can't get all the fancy tools and all the paid software to get started. You have to start the research. So I have went in, got a Gmail account, set it up myself just for this training to show you that it can be done, starting everything from scratch, so that way you can see the foundation, building it from step by step by step. You go in there, you create the G drive, the Google Drive, right? Then you start organizing your folders. And we're going to walk through that all through everything through there, how you set it up manually first, and then you automate later, because right now you just got to get started. Too many times we'll try to automate, we try to, but you don't even know the process. You don't even know step one, step two, step three, step four, and step five. And so, what I want to emphasize today is, once you automate it, then you can hire a freelancer or a tech expert. Then you go, it's so many videos out there on YouTube that you can go watch, tons of step-by-step videos on how to automate that are available. But to be clear, we're going to do this manually first. All right. I want to emphasize that market research isn't just about collecting that data. You have to begin somewhere. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so the first basic folder setup in Google Drive. Because these are the things we're going to be attacking today. You got your NAICS codes, you got your PSC codes. Where do I put it? Most of the times you come in the sessions, you don't know, okay. And then when we come back for our next session, everything is everywhere. You don't know where any of the documents are. We don't know. So what this is to get you all in on one music. So when you come back into the class, I mean the session, or when you do get your session, you're ready. All right. You're going to do your NAICS code. This is your folder structures that you're building. All right, because you want it to be consistent. All right, this shows that you are serious, and then it also helps your counselor to see where you are. The counselor can't help you if they don't know where you are, so that way they can do that roadmap to get you where you need to be. And so I always recommend when you're going through this training, open up your other screen if you have two screens, or if you only have one screen, and start taking notes. Make sure you have those notes, and that way you can know, okay, action item one is I have to build my basic folder setup. Now, if you already got it built up, how is it organized? Can you find the information quickly? Or do you have it so when you get in the session, you hit the ground running? That's going to be the key. So, why it matters is because you have to stay consistent. You losing documents, then you're recreating the work. You're doing everything all over again. So that's why it's important that you have a structure, just a basic folder structure just to get started. Of course, it's going to expand. Of course, it's going to get bigger, but the key is having it get started first. Okay. Okay. It Why the folder structure matters in government contracting, because it prepares you to collaborate with your subcontractors. You're going to have subcontractors. You're going to have your virtual assistants. You're going to have your coaches, your counselors. You're going to have employees. It's going to matter because we always get started with the business thinking, okay, I'm only one person. Yes, but you're going to scale. You're going to add people to the team, so it's important to build the foundation. When you build in a house, you have to build the foundation first. You have to build your structure. You have to build your files. So when you do start collecting data, you know where to put it. You've already got a place to put it. You know where you're sorting everything. And then it keeps your sensitive files secure and accessible only to the right people. You don't want everyone having access to your contract award details. You don't want to have everyone having access to your team and agreements and all that. So that way you'll know where that information is. And that way, when you do give access to those external individuals, you'll have everything. Okay, it reduces confusion, it saves times, and then makes your counseling sessions more productive. I can't tell you how many times I've had people come into the session and they're not prepared or they're not ready. And so, therefore, we're spending time in that session. And now it took you 30 days, first of all, just to get the counseling. Then once you get on the calendar, you don't know how many people have already, because it's on the first come first served basis, right? So you don't know how many other people is before you, so then finally you get in the session and then you don't have all the information, or we have to wait. Okay, well, we're going to have to reschedule this session for another time because we need to get all the information together. Okay, then having that set up, a dedicated drive folder that we're going to walk through now, and then you're going to have to group it by your codes. You got your trackers, you got your briefs, and you got your templates. So that way, say you have your VA and you need to give them the templates so they can start filling it out, but they don't have access to all your documents, and that's why we say it is so important. And then you have to use a clear naming convention. You have to use the same thing. So that's why it's going to be important to create SOPs, the standard operating procedures. And all of this is part of effective market research. This is what we tend to forget, that yes, you didn't collect it, but now how are we going to store it, organize it, and share the information so we can make informed decisions? That's all a part of it. Okay. And then it helps you when it's time to scale professionally. Even if you only have one full time, one part time employee, it doesn't matter. You're always thinking about scaling. Even if you only want to scale to about 5 people on a team, or if you want to stay small, you're still going to have other people you're going to have to deal with. And it's important that you build that foundation now. Okay. Okay. And then what we'll build today, we're going to do the market research tracker. We're going to use a Google Sheet. We're going to do the Intel brief template, which is a Google Doc. then your outreach calendar task showing you how to put things on your calendar, and then your sample email script. I recommend that you always keep everything in your doc. So that way you can copy, paste, and then highlight those sections that you have to fill. Because what happens is you'll copy, paste, and then you didn't see that you didn't rechange it, and it's still saying name or still saying company name or something like that. So it's very important to highlight that information so that way you can stay abreast of where you are in that. Okay, so we know what we're going to be building today. We've already talked about, we did our poll. So let me go to the next slide because I want to keep us on tag. Okay. Okay, so the tracker tabs. All right, so I'm going to stop right here. These are the tabs that you need to have in there. That's your NAICS codes, your PSE codes, your opportunity tracker, and your agency contact list. And I'm going to stop right here and then we're going to go to the drive because I want it to be interactive. I want you to start putting it together. Like I said, we could start putting it together right now in this training. So when you leave this training today, you have a system that you can already implement and already put together. Okay, so now we done got into the folder. All right. And in each folder, now, first of all, we're going to start off with our handout. It's in each folder. You're going to do a NAICS code crosswalk, and I just call it a cheat sheet. Now, the purpose of this is to help you identify and align your core services and common NAICS codes used in federal contracting. So you're going to use this during the SAM.gov searches and your proposal writing and your business development. So what I did was I just put a little table in here, the next code that you've identified that is your primary, because you have to walk through, um, does this really work for me? Is this the code that I'm supposed to be using? Am I doing the custom computer programming services? And then what the typical service is, and then the common PSC code that goes with it. Is it D Delta, or D 302? Is it D 302 and 3 dual 207? That's what the research is for. And how you find those NAICS codes is before you do anything. And then I've given you the instructions right here. You're going to match your primary business activities to the typical services. So you're just going to list all of your services so you can make sure that you have the right NAICS code and then you have the right PSC code, because I've seen it too many times we don't have the right one. And then this is where you just start what you've seen in SAM.gov. And that's where you go get that information. So we're going to walk through that, how to do a typical in the live demo scenario. But right now, I just want to give you a primer of what the high level, what we're going to do. And see, not all NAICS codes and PSC codes match all are 1-to-1. So you might see the 54, 15, 11 with other PSC codes. But you'll start seeing the trends as you continue to do this. When you first getting started, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But as you continue to keep going in SAM.gov, looking at the different searches, looking at what the contracting officers are putting with that, then you'll start noticing. And so you'll get this handout. This is handout number 1 at the end of the session. But I always like to walk through it for the first time. So that way, when you get the sheet, you can go in and start filling it out. Then I just put a few basic spaces. You can also go build this in your in Excel. You can do whatever you want, or in the Google folder. So when you go to your folder, that will be all of those handouts. Then you need the NAICS manual and the PSC code in here, because these are the things you're going to reference. These are the things that you will be looking up. So for instance, we're going to go right here. Then you got to put the NAICS code on. And do I offer this service? Yes or no? What's the PSC code match? Was it used in past contracts? And then the keywords I used in the proposals, because this is how you're going to start building out that information, because this is how you find out if it works or not. Okay. Or are they using procurement specialists? Are they using contract specialists? That's when you're going to start learning, because state uses one different terminology, but federal uses another. So as you start working in the federal when you're in sam.gov, you're going to see that they're using different keywords than when you go in Emma, the e-Maryland marketplace. They're using a different. So that's why I write everything down. And then I save it all in my drive so I can reference it. You can put the date on there, when you started this, last updated. And that way, when you send, or say you have a BD, a business development team, and they're the one doing all the research, then you'll know the last time they updated this or did the research. That's the important thing. You're trying to capture all your market intelligence in one place so you'll know where it is. Now, for all my newbies, how you get this is through the right here, the North American Industry Classification System, and I've put the links. So you'll have all of the links in the slides. Also, I've put the links. Let me pull it up right here because we're building everything. Let me go right here. And the links is right here. The first thing we're doing is defining our search criteria. And the step one, because I'm taking you step by step through the slides and through this interactive training. So when I'm gonna pause in a minute, because I like to pause every few to make sure I don't have any questions before I go too far ahead and I don't have to go back. So I'm about to pause in a few minutes for questions, but I want you to understand what step we're on. We're on step one. Start with your codes, your NAICS and your PSC codes. So what your company does. That means what does your company do? This is the industry. This is the service. The PSC is the product service code. So say we did facility support service. That's the 50561210. And then if you do the PSC, that's what the government is buying. It could be that code right here, or they might have another. Okay. So but to verify that, you're going to go to both of these different links, which I've put right here in the chat, and then you download the publication. All right. Preparing you for your session, and you're going to keep having to reference it. You're going to need to keep reference. I'm telling you, when you first find it, starting out, you got to keep referencing things and then bookmark everything. So you'll see that I've bookmarked the sam.gov, all your resources that you're using, because this is your business email, your business profile that you've created to do all of everything in one place. So when you need it, you can go to it and access it. You know, we're going to bookmark that sam.gov. We're going to be doing USA spending. We're going to do the agency reoccurring procurement forecast. We're doing our PSCs. We're doing that FPDS and G. We're doing our NAICS and then the NAICS tool. So this is what I do every time, every session. I'm coming in and I want to see your foundation. I want to see what you're doing. What do you have? So then I can help you build that solid foundation. So then once you start getting those awards, once you start meeting those teaming partners, you know where to put it in your database. You know who has access to your database. You know all those things, especially when you're getting started. You don't know. So this is what this is for, to help you get started. So let's go back to the next crosswalk. So how you check all that is once you download your manual, I always I love going to this one because I want to see exactly what code do I fall under first, the code. All right, we know we're not doing agriculture, forestry, fishing, and honey. So we know any of this with the 11s, we're not looking at it. With the 21s, we're not looking at mining. Uh, we're not doing anything with utilities. We're not doing anything with construction. So this is how you get started. You have to start from step one, then step two, then step three, and then that way you'll understand more. So say if we're going after information, then we'll look at all the codes in 51. And you know how we know it's working, because when we go to sam.gov and then we into the contracting, right? Then we hit advanced search, then you could see right here, these are the codes right here, the NAICS codes. This is how they breaking it down the same way. So that's how you know you're on the right step. Then we know all we want to look at is 56. Remember, we set 56 for our example. So I'm going to take it back. Ours is 56, 12, 10 in this example because we're on step one, defining your search criteria. And we're using this information. So then you've defined it. We know we're doing 56, and I just want to look at the opportunities out here. You see right here, the results is 2,577. But then once we've got what code we want, you have to go in and put what more. Because see, it's going to pull up all 56. And so if we're only looking for the 56, 12, 10, then you put that in. But say we just getting started. Maybe there's something else we can do. And I want to look at all of the 56. Then you do. But if not, then you just take it and I put everything. Oh, let me apologize. Let me go back. I put everything in a Word doc or the Google Doc so I can copy and paste to make it quicker and easier. That is why you define everything. That is why when you define your search, you pull that information out. So we know we want that. We've got our NAICS codes. We've downloaded all our information in here. Let's go back to the drive. And then we want to pull up our opportunity tracker and then the agency intel briefs. Because while we're doing it, we're going to be doing everything in the same breath. Okay, so here's the intel for your title. So we're going to put whatever agency we decide, if it's going to be Department of Treasury, if it's going to be Department of Defense, if it's going to be whatever age, because this is the intel we're looking at. We're looking at the agency overview. So let me blow it up. So make sure you can see it. I'm going to put it on 50. Okay, we're looking at their mission. We're going to their websites. We're going to do the procurement focus. What are the top NAICS codes used and the top PSCs? Right now, this is where we at. This is what we're doing right now, getting the information, and then you're going to just copy and paste that information in your doc because this is where we're at right now. We're focusing on our procurement focus. What is the top NAICS codes used? What are the top PSC codes used? So everything we're doing today in training, it's a process. It's a process of collecting the data, having it in an organized manner. So and the way I do it is I'll take number one, I'm going to use all and then I'm going to apply headings because I want it to populate over here in the left column. So when I need to, because I'm telling you what's going to happen, it's going to start getting long. And then you're building your table of contents so that way you can find the information. Say, all I want to look at is the key sub tier offices. So you want to be able to just click on it and get the tier offices. So this is some of the things you'll learn that will make your life so much easier. You'll just go through and then you make everything your heading ones. Then your mission statement could be heading two. People don't understand that just doing those things will help you get to the data quickly because I keep telling you, I've seen too many times you come in a session, everything is a mess. It's just all because you're still trying to figure it out. So you don't know what you don't know. And just because as you see, once you copy and paste that information in there, it's going to move everything down. Then you can go in after, because too many times I'll give all the information before, but they don't know how I built it. So you can't recreate it and you can't teach your team on how to do that. So that's why I don't build it. I get you started. I build the template, then I show you how to build it. So now you start putting that information. You start putting your heading. So now you can insert your table of contents that's going to take you there quicker. It's going to tell you what page is on what. It's on page one, it's on page two. And then that way you can choose to link it so that way you can go straight to the mission, or you can just click on it and you go straight to that section. So it's all about getting organized. Okay, number one, putting the information so you can go retrieve it and store it. And then when you need to make those informed decisions, you can do that. All right, so we're at the top of the hour. I want to make sure before I proceed on to the PSC code. Well, before, no, we're almost there. Let me just get to the PSC codes because then we're going to move on to the next phase. All right, so the PSC codes. This is the PSC code manual. You would download the PDF, right? But then you also have the Excel. They have everything in here. It tell you all about the different changes. You want the new one because remember, administration changes. That's why you always go in here and update it because this is April 2025. So that means a lot has changed. So if you have the 24, the 23, no, you need the new one. You need 25. And before we move on to the next one, let me go back because I want to keep us on the same sheet. Okay. And when you look at the manuals, you'll see. the next manual, right? The reason why I love Google Docs, you can share, you can make notes, you can do everything. All right. And then it'll tell you everything you need to know about your codes, the updates, all the information. You highlight, you do everything you need to do. So when you come back and use this resource, you done highlighted everything, you done bookmarked stuff, you know where everything is at. You and it's teaching you about all the different codes in here. And that's why I wanted you to see this. You see, it's telling you sector 11, sector 21. And then that way you know you've selected the right code. And right here, we're doing 56, right? So ours is all about this. This is where we need to know about all the information for 56 because that is the next code we're doing the market research. Then what you do is what page? Page 485. So you get to it. Or was it page 502? And all of that information you're putting in your notes. You're keeping notes. You can put it in your notes section, whatever section is supposed to go, and you title it. That way you can go back and reference it. You can bookmark. I'm telling you, there's so much you can do that's going to help you really grow and win, because when you need the information, when you're writing proposals, when you're doing your capability statement, you're going to need all this information because you're going to need to know the mission. You're going to need to know the office names. You're going to need to know a lot of information, but you've already collected it. You already know where it's at. You know where it's stored. And then it's going to help you write your proposals faster, your capability statements faster, and so forth and so on. And so it's 56. Now, with the PSC code, same thing. You search your PSC codes. You have to search everything, okay? Because they've updated, administration changed. They've gotten rid of PSC codes. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me see, they did a recent update. Let me tell you where that's at. All right. Okay. Okay. So you know, the product and service codes manual provides code to describe the products, services, research and development, that's the R&D, purchased by the federal government. Now, this code indicates what was bought for each contract action, which will be reported in the federal procurement data system. And that's those bookmarks that I was telling you. You're going to be in here a lot. You're going to be in all these different websites a lot. So you need to know how to use them. Okay. And then so what you do is, and then when you go, keep going. I think it was on page 18, but this is R&D. So section, that's the R&D. So when you want to, or you can control find and go to the section you want. So say we want section B, then it takes us to section B. Okay, this is one of the examples I had pulled out onto the slide. So when you get to it, so if we're doing category B for studies, or if we're doing D, IT, telecommunications, and then you go down and you look at all the codes, and they're telling you if it's software as a service, if it's a licensing, is this is how you find out this information. And that is the key, knowing how to find information, using these quick searches to get through the information. And if you only focusing on section D, then you only stay in section D if you're IT. And then it will take you to the IT, everything in IT for section D, and then you just go through everything. So this is your products codes. They're telling you what everything is grouped in, the numbers. And then if you have a service, because you got the products and then you have the services. If you only selling services, go to the services section. If you're only selling products, then go to the products section. So that's why I'm trying to show you, because this is where we get confused, because there's so much information. Don't go through all the information. Focus on your information. Focus on the information for your industry, for your PSC codes, those product service codes. So that way you know, and you see what they're telling you, what it includes, what it excludes. And then you're going to take all that information that you found, because what you're trying to do is keep from going through 188 pages. You pulling out what's prevalent, just for you, what applies to your business. And then you're going to fill out your PSC crosswalk, this one. So we're doing Delta right now, the D codes. So D301, D30, and we're going through. And if you just got to keep adding, when you build your template, you keep adding those different rows in there, and then you just add the next one and add the next one, and then you put on there what it includes, what it excludes. Because I'm telling you, repetition, repetition, repetition is how you learn. Repetition, repetition, and you keep seeing it over again. Then eventually you won't even have to keep referencing it as much because you already know. You've done the research, you know what it already includes, you've synthesized the information that you needed. So these are the handouts that you will be receiving so you can continue the research. And then I've told you instructions on how to fill out the space for your notes section. I gave you real world examples, everything. Does it fit? I even put those two examples in there. All right. My example task is we developed a custom SharePoint workflow for HR. All right. Does it fit? Yes or no? And then if what next code if it doesn't. Now, this one, install a VoIP system for agency office. No, it doesn't fit that it doesn't fit that PSC code. And then what PSC code does it fit? Delta 304 or DO 304. Okay, so I've showed you how to do all of this stuff right here, so that way um you can start now. You know where the PSC codes is, you know where the next code information is. Now you can fill out handout one, and you can fill out handout two, and then you know what sections to fill out on your intel brief. This is what you're starting to gather. We're focusing only on section two right here. Now, we've got our PSC codes. We know that we have our PSC codes. So right here, we're going to stop. I'm going to take any questions, and then I'm going to proceed to the next section. Yasmin, do we have any questions?
Thank you, Akiesha. Yes,
Mhm.
I'd like to welcome everybody who's joined us since we started and let you know that you can ask your questions for Akiesha by typing them in the chat box. So let's have a look in the chat box, see if anything has come up yet. People asking me if this is being recorded and they can watch the replay and get the slides. Yes, you will get that information after the presentation. Okay. Somebody says, where can I find buyers? Are you going to be covering that?
And the buyers, so when you say buyers, right? Who are the buyers? Is it the prime contractor or is it the government agency? So yes, we're going to cover, but the port buyers is which buyer are we talking about? Are we talking about agency buyers or the prime contractor buyers? And then that way we're able to give me because both are in sam.gov, both are in FPDS&G, but what are we contacting the buyer for? Is it because we want to do a capability brief? And so that's why I said I'm taking you through a series of steps. And yes, the buyers will be covered in sam.gov training because that portion of it is in this training. But right now we're on step one.
Okay, great. Another question that we're seeing more and more of recently is about AI. There's a question here. It says, AI is rapidly taking over. Are there any codes for AI?
Okay. Well, that's why, well, I haven't looked up AI yet, but we can look and we could do a Google search. Because yes, you are correct. I definitely need to start looking up information on AI. But the government administration is still trying to figure out how we're going to utilize AI. So we're still in that phase of, okay, how are we going to use it? What are they going to allow us to use it for? And then this one just came out April 2025. So we can always do a search and see have they even did a PSC code for AI. So I can do that real quick and see. But see, I would need more than that because you see right there, that was already 26,000. So we would need, I would probably have to do artificial intelligence and all those different things like that to see have they even put that in the new PSC codes. So I haven't went through all of the new PSC codes yet to see because this one just came out in April. But I'm telling you, if you want to see if they got the new PSC codes and AI has been in here, definitely do the market research. Definitely. Because I'm definitely going to have to put that one in there because a lot of questions have been coming up about the AI.
Yeah, we should probably think about putting something on in the future,
Yes,
Akiesha.
yes, I'm making a
So
note of
thanks.
that right now.
Right, exactly. So thanks for that question. It's
Yes, that's
we're
a
always
real
looking
good one.
for new information and classes for you. Let's
Yes.
see. How or who can I have? Oh, how do I write a capability statement? No, wait. How or
Mhm.
who can I have a capability letter generated for my business? I'm not quite sure If you mean your capability statement, if there is, then we have a class on that that you can watch, and I will post the link in the chat because obviously that is a vital piece of information
Yes.
that you need to share. So
That's your
yeah,
marketing
thanks.
material.
Right. So
Yes.
I will post the capability statement information in there.
Yeah,
And doesn't seem
because
like there's any other questions for now.
Okay, good. And how that capability, how the keywords, the NAICS codes, and all that tie into that capability statement is because you're going to use those NAICS codes on your capability statement. You're going to use those PSC codes on your capability statement. So when you send that marketing material, that brief snapshot of your capabilities, your company's capabilities, they're going to see those NAICS. They're going to see those PSC codes. So that's how it ties into it, that capability statement. So that's why when you hear me say those different things like the services, this is what's going to be on your next code, and this is, I mean, on your capability statement, and this is what's going to be on your capability statement, because you want to show people this are the next codes that we have. Our primary NAICS code is 541511, but our secondary NAICS codes, which you're going to enter in SAM when you do your entity, when you create in your SAM registration. And that's a whole nother video itself. So that's why we're breaking these trainings down in each step, so we can take you all the way through how to, and then for the question about the buyers, definitely, because you need to know the buyers, but you need to know what they're buying. So what is the buyer buying, 541511, or is the buyer buying 541512? That's going to make the difference, and I'll show you that in the SAM. So I definitely want to get to that. All right, so let me go back to the slide. So we've selected, we defined it, our search criteria. Now we're building the tracker, the Google Sheet name, the GovCon market research tracker. You can call it whatever you want to call it. The point is, you just need one. You need to be able to track, because what happens, you come in a session. I ask you, how many opportunities have you bid on? You tell me 5. Okay, well, what 5? What agencies? What this? So what I did was I would have them stop. Okay, okay, so document. Okay, who did you talk to? Who was your POC? Were they responsive? Were they non-responsive? What? And then we get in that session, and it's like, oh no, I didn't do this. I no, I didn't document it. I just was looking at everything. Okay, so how are you gonna follow back? So when did you contact them? Was it a month ago? Was it 3 weeks ago? Was it 2 days ago? Those are the conversation we were having. And then I didn't want my the clients to feel all frustrated because they're leaving and they didn't get all that information. So what I started doing is sending them the prep information. Prepare for your counseling session. This is what you're going to need, because these are the questions that I'm going to ask you. So when you get in that session, we always hit the ground running. All right, so now we go into the buyers. So we've done our crosswalk. We know the next code. We did that. We know our PSC code. We did that. So now I'm going to close those tabs because I need to open up other tabs. And then I've checked everything. I've downloaded everything. I have everything. So now we're on sam.gov. All right, so our buyers. So what I like to see is, once you pull up the 56, so we're looking for all our buyers. So who are our buyers? The departments, right? This department. So this one is Veteran Affairs, right? Then the office is Network Office and Contracting Command. So this is how you find out who the buyers are. But you have to be signed in to download it. So once you're signed in, you can download this information. Then you create your pivot tables, you do all those different things, because that's what I do. I create pivot tables, I do everything. But because of the time and so much we have to cover, I can't go through everything, but I can give you an overview. And then once you leave this training, you can implement everything. All right, so now we want government waste removal. Okay, so now that we've built our NAICS code PSC codes, we're going to go back. Now we're going to get our opportunity tracker, our market research tracker. This is a basic version for the webinar. All right, we're going to build those tabs. We're going to do my NAICS code tab, right? All we want is the category, which one is our primary or our secondary, which NAICS code is it? Is our 541611? Is it what? Our example was 56. We were doing the facility maintenance. Which PSC code goes with it? And I even went putting drop downs in here. You can do it however you want, but the reason why you do drop downs is so that way someone don't fat finger it. Someone might spell it high, all caps, and then match. Or, you want everything the same. So when you start building those dashboards, so say you want to build another tab for dashboards to pull all that information out. And then say, I want to see all my high matches, or I want to see all my needs review, or I want to see, you can filter it by that. And then I just put a little legend next to it so I know this one. High means full alignment with services, medium, mostly aligned, needs case by case analysis, needs review, not aligned, recommend reassignment. So this is how you're doing your research, right? So then we found that opportunity that we want. All I did was, because I downloaded the document, but for this sake of training, I didn't have time to do a lot of stuff that I really, it takes hours sometimes. It takes, but once you get the system down, then you can continue to go through and refine it, automate it. You can do all those things. But when you're first getting started out, you just have to get started. So then I say, I wanted that agency, right? I already know we got the notice ID. So maybe I need to create somewhere for a notice ID. I want to copy that notice ID. I'm telling you, it can be as easy or as hard as you want it, but that's why you download the document, so you'll have already, and all you doing is going in and filtering it. So you didn't copied it. You didn't put that notice ID in here. This is the one I want to go after. What agency was, say Department of Veteran Affairs, if that's your agency. But if that is not the target agency that you've been researching, who you've built a relationship with and all it, then don't go after it. But for the sake of this example, we want Veteran Affairs. So we're just going to say Veteran Affairs. Okay. For this. So you can understand what I mean when I say market research. And then when you get in your session, this is what I'm going to want to see. I want to see which notice ID you was looking at. Then you link it in here. You can put the task description. You can put the, okay, I want to say, because I want to be able to pull this up in my counseling session. So then I'm going to put the link right here. And you're going to just continue to build. But as I stated before, you can go in and download it. And then I always freeze the top row. So that way it's easy for me to keep adding. Okay, you freeze the top row, and then now you could just keep adding more and more and more and more opportunities that you're going to talk about in your session. Then you're going to fill the office, the NAICS, the PSC code, the title, and then that's when you're going to start adding your does this match my service? Yes or no? And then the task descriptions. And how you're going to find out about the task descriptions is right here. This is the buyer. Now let's go find out who the team and partners is, and because we've already found an agency, we know we want Veteran Affairs. We want to know has someone. What you have to do is you got to look and see, because it's not a recompete. I can't show you step by step, because then I could pull it up in FPDS and show you that recompete. Then I can walk you through. So what you do is you go to FPDS. This is where you look at the past histories. Then you take that information out. Okay, you could just hit enter. Then there's so many good, great videos out there on how to use this system. But just for the sake of this training, I want to be able to get through enough information. So we want to look at 50, 56, 12, I believe it was 10. And you hit go. You see how it's pulling up all that information? You see how you're building your search criteria over here? You're starting to build, but you have to build it one by one by one. If you try to put too many things in there, it's going to mess the search criteria up, because it's very delicate. So, say we're looking up Veteran Affairs. Here's Veteran Affairs. We're looking at our top 10 departments, right? We're focusing on Veteran Affairs because we basically, you're looking to see how many times they bought, what they've bought, how they bought it, the top 10 contracting, the contracting agency names, and then the prime contractors information that you're looking at to see how many times they built, or I mean, they've purchased, or they've been awarded. I apologize. They've been awarded a contract. So let's walk through it. So then you look, this is how you find the buyers, right? We're doing Veteran Affairs. So now that we've selected Veteran Affairs, then you're going to see the full legal name and business of the top 10. But most of the times, some of our businesses are very small. They're trying to reach out to these large primes, and then they're wondering why they're not answering them. Okay. because they want to work with other established small businesses. So I'm always recommending to my new businesses, people just getting started, work with another small, but work with an established small. They're generating maybe 4 million in income, or because they're probably looking for subcontractors and stuff like that. You want to work with, but you see how your criteria has built. Now we're looking at the veteran affairs. You're slowly, and then to keep adding on to it. Say we only want to look at the modifications. You're going to hit advanced search. You're going to hit add a search. Then you're going to go down to what are we looking for? Are we looking only modifications? Zero. We don't want to look at every time they've done a modification, right? We want to look at just the first one they've done. And then we just add 0 right here. And then you're going to hit search. And then you see how your search criteria, you're just adding one thing at a time, because if you try to do Department of Veteran Affairs, boom, it's gonna hit an X for Department of it's gonna just separate it. But if you do an advanced search and slowly build, and we only want to look at from one date to another date, okay? Or you can just hit date sign. You want to look at what was previously done, and that was June 11, 2020, and you see who the legal business name is, right? So now you have their UEI. So we're going to take that UEI, because we're deciding if we want to partner with them. Say we're going to hit Control C. I paste everything in a document. So then you will create a document for team partners to look up. Then you're going to go into usaspending.gov, right? This one, you're going to get all these links are in the slides. It's just me walking you through the process of when I say that because you're right here on the slide, we're building our Google Sheet government, and it's a hands-on exercise. Let's go to the next one. This is all we've included in our template, and then all the sections and then we're going to get to the procurement forecast too, because I skipped on slide. That's why I always go back to my slides, because I've been and walk you through so that I will miss an area. So I didn't want to miss. This is where we left off, but I'm going to come right back because I'm going to pull that up because I want to keep you going through the process. Okay. But this is where you're going to look right here, where you see agencies, recipients. We're going to put their NAICS code, their US UEI right here, because we want to prime with them. And then we're going to look them up. And then they're going to see, this is where we're going to learn more about um, the businesses. But we're still got another step go. So yes, you're going to find the buyer's information, but it's not the way we want it. They have it set up, and we have to go within their parameters. We have to look up the information the way they've set it up for us. And the other site is the DSBS profile. Oh, I didn't even put that one up here for me. So that's the dynamic search. So SBA's DS, that's the DSBS. And this is where we're going to do our search. And then you're going to hit I think it's this one. Then you come to this page right here, and we want to search to learn more about it. And then you're going to put that UEI right here. But you see, nothing is just straightforward. Everything is a process. And how you going to know this information if you haven't been taught it? You won't. You won't. That's why we have to have this training. You have, especially when you're just getting started, because it's a lot of information out there. And see, they didn't even lift it. So maybe I got to get the UEI better because it was a space or anything in there. So let's make sure. Copy, paste, and then we're going to go do the search again. And you're going to paste the UEI right here. Well, they don't have any information. So either that, or it's expired. So sometimes that does happen on occasions. Anything could happen. But this is how you go look up the different small businesses in the area. So that way you can see. So we can just let's do Maryland so you can see what it looks like. Okay, the state of Maryland, I'm going to take the UEI out. Okay, they've already taken it out. And then I'm going to hit search. Oh, so it might be down. That's the reason why. Or they're going to make me do, because it's too many profiles to so let me let's see, we got Maryland. And then let's just only do woman owned so you can see. And then we're going to do search. Boom. Okay, so there you have it. So this is how you find your prime contractors that you want to work with. Or they could be a prime, they could be a sub, but or just I'm gonna say teaming partners because we don't know. You will have to go do the extra research. So say we click on Eagle, then we have to go look Eagle's information up, see their woman owned, their woman owned right here, then what capability narratives, all that, because it's different steps with the market research. And you're not going to be able to talk about all of that in just this couple of minutes. We are going to be on it's a process. Everything is a process, and each part ties into a part. But this is how you get there. You got to come in here to get the contact information, the emails, and different things of that nature. So that's why it's important that you understand the steps it takes. Then you're going to put their contact information in the contact tab. What's the status and any notes? Okay, do I need to go back and research this? Do I need a team and partner for this? Can I prime this? Can I, those are the things. And then when you're dealing with, now that's for your opportunities that you've decided. Now, your agencies is where you're going to do your agency PLC. So, say you got a small business specialist that you need to talk to for that. You're going to put that information in there for the veteran affairs, their PLC, their email, their phone number, and notes. What we're doing is building our repository for us to be able to reference later, to be able to tell the BD or the business development team members, hey, or your virtual assistant, whoever you have on staff who's doing the market research, who's helping you do the market research. There has to be a system in place. And then, so what I'm going to do is when we come back from the break, we have to start off with the Intel because we have to start putting the information in the Intel brief template so you can see it in real time. And then we're going to talk about the overview. We've already talked about the NAICS codes, the key offices. So, say the Department of Affairs, Veteran Affairs might have a different offices. That is going to be listed in this section. But we need to also talk about the forecast because that is so important when you're first getting started because the forecast is when you can still talk to the contracting officer or the program and now because it still has not been put out there as a solicitation because once it's put out there as a solicitation then there's no more talking. Everything is going to be through emails and then they're going to give you the questions and answer cutoff date. So say if the opportunities due on June 15th, they're going to tell you that questions are due on the 14th or whatever the date they put in there. And that's important for you to know. So we're going to use that. We're going to do it on our live demonstrate. I'm going to continue to walk you through the process of how to do that research, how to find the buyers, look for those prime contractors, for those who are looking only for prime contractors, for those who are only looking for agencies. But what people fail to realize, okay, say you go after Department of um Homeland Security. Well, guess what? If you don't got a GSA vehicle, a mask, the GWAX or IDIQ, they don't want to work for you. So you're gonna have to work as a sub. It's all about which agency are you going after? That's why you have to do the agency intel brief. You have to know, are they doing standalone contracts or are they only doing GSA schedule contracts or best in class contracting vehicles? And then you're constantly going after this agency and you're wondering why you're not winning work. Well, number one, they don't do standalone contracts. They mostly looking for people who has a contract of the GSA schedule. And with this new administration change, you see they're moving and pushing us to the GSA schedule. And then you need to be qualified to those are pre-vetted companies on there. They've had to prove that they have past performance in certain different areas. And then you still are competing with other small businesses on the schedule. So it's different methods, different strategies you're going to have to use for different situations to understand, okay, who is my buyer today? Is it a prime contractor or is it an agency? Can I work directly with the agency? Do I have the past performance to work directly with the agency? Because you can use your commercial experience as well. And many times we don't know how to articulate that. How do we use our commercial past performance to do that? And that's why we had that training on how to use your past performance. Or if you don't have past performance, we've put together these trainings to help you along the way. So once we come back from this training, this is the slide we're going to start on. We're going to start on our agency intel brief template. We're going to start pulling all the data in and putting it in, and then go to the procurement forecast so you can see, okay, now I need to go get my PLCs for the procurement. Because how much are we doing? 25% source of SOP notices, 25% solicitations only. I mean, what is your percentages of what are you trying to go after? And then you can really make an informed decision on how you're going to proceed and how you're going to move forward. All right, so this is the top of the hour. We're going to take our break. And when we come back, I'm going to answer more questions. And then we're going to hit the ground with the agency intel brief template.
Thanks, Akiesha. Okay, we've got 5-minute break. See you back in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. So I want to, before I jump off into the next section, I want to make sure I didn't have any questions. I was calling myself trying to go through the chat quickly. um, did you see anything? Yes, I didn't see
Oh,
anything.
let's have a look.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah, there's one asking about past performance. So I was just going to post in the link of the class that you did earlier this year on past performance. But I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that.
Okay, okay. The only thing about the commercial past performance also is in your agency intel brief, you can make a section for your commercial past performance, and that way you don't forget the notes. And when you go back and watch the video, you'll see how to incorporate that. Because what the commercial past performance does, it say they ask for 5 years experience as a facility manager, right? You already got a section. You could just add section number 7, past performance on your intel template, and then just put your all your commercial past performance. So when you watch that video, you already know, okay, this is what I need to do, because it's a lot. And because you're matching the tasks in your commercial past performance. And then you got to make sure you're using the same link, because commercials say something different kind of language than the federal government. So you want to make sure they're speaking the same language and the same terms. That's why I said, let me go back to that one. You build that number 7, and then you just put your commercial past performance on there, and then copy and paste and do all that. That's why I love Google Docs. And then you can share that information with your team. Just hit that share button, and then you just give it whoever you need to give access to this drive, and then restrict the access if you want them to have view only, whatever. So it's a lot that goes with that commercial experience, but I won't have enough time to cover it because I have to finish the effective market research, because you have to know how to go through your market research. But that's what I wanted to make you go back and watch that video for sure. Okay, so let me keep moving, because I think that was our last question. All right, so let me close the comment. Kind of want to distract me so I can stay focused. All right, so now let's go back to our slide. Okay, so now we're doing our agency intel brief. I just call it agency intel. You call it whatever you want, but it's agency, so it's Veteran Affairs intelligence brief template. So, but I abbreviate everything because that's how we do in the military. That's how I did it in the military, and that's how I do it. So now we're going to do the acquisition procurement forecast. So let's keep going. All right, so let me pull up the acquisition forecast because I want to take you through the process. All right, so we're going to click the acquisition procurement forecast. So now when you're on this page right here, you see that we have all of the different departments on here. And if you don't see anything, just Google it. Go and Google and get that agency. So say our agency we were looking for was the Veteran Affairs. So then we can click on the Veteran Affairs right here, Department of Veteran Affairs. This is how you get to, it's going to open up in a new window to their Veteran Affairs page. But sometimes you have to go through there looking at all these drop downs, trying to find out where the information is. No, we don't have time for that. So what I do is when I'm going through here is I want Veteran Affairs and I want to look at the procurement forecast. So I go to the resources to see if they have the procurement forecast. So then I can go straight to the procurement forecast. They already asked you for your email. Put your email in there, give it to them so you can get all the updates. If Veteran Affairs is the agency that we're searching. So now you see I've got all the POCs for Unsolicited proposals. And if you've attended my training, I talk about unsolicited proposals. Those are proposals we didn't ask you for, basically. To say it in layman's terms, I didn't ask you for it, but you sending me your information anyway. So these are the POCs you're going to do. But I always recommend use what they have given us. They said respond to those source of sought notices, respond to those the RFIs, the request for information. That is the way. It's solicited. They're asking for you to respond. That's when you can shine. That's when you send that capability statement. That's when you use all of this information you've gathered and you start putting it to work. You've already got your little template made for your capability statement. You've already got your template made for your your request for information or source to sought notice. That's the market research phase. That's the phase you want to be in. That's the government cycle. You want to be in the procurement forecast phase because now you can have conversations. They haven't decided if it's going to be full open competition or is it going to be set aside for a woman-owned small business, a hubs-owned small business. So, say two women-owned small businesses respond to this solicitation or that source of sought notice or that request for information, then they can possibly set it aside for small business, and you're no longer fighting with all the big small bit the largest, if you will, the large prime contractors. Now you're only competing against one of your competitors. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Nobody, everybody can't win the gold medal, that contract. Only one of you gonna win it. And then if it's a subcontract opportunity. So we then went to the forecast on opportunity. And then with the veteran affairs, you have to use theirs is on the acquisition gateway. Then you can go in and download. I always tell them download the CSV so you can use your pivot tables. You can look at everything, learn how to review look at their data dictionary, look at all they're telling you how to use their tools because each agency has a different way of utilizing that tool. So you've decided I want to go after this opportunity. It looks good. Wait a minute. Is it estimated contract value? Do I have anything that I've worked for that's going to make me competitive for this? So then, no, you go in there and filter it out, especially when you're brand new. You go in here and you filter out different things. But if you just want to see what's out there and for long-term positioning, then you go right ahead. But I'm always looking at the different filters so I can narrow it down. If I'm only looking at 24, or if I'm only looking at 8 woman-owned small businesses, see, learn how to use the tools. Or because I'm veteran, because this is veteran affairs, we know they're only looking for veteran, but you could possibly win and then it'll narrow down the search. But see, then there might not be anything. So that's why I want to get the information and then sort through the information myself, download that CSV file, and then do those pivot tables, look at the different estimated contract values and see which one, because I'm very new, I'm still getting started. I want to go after stuff, what, 10K or 250K under the simplified acquisition. And that's another train in itself. But this is your acquisition planning. This is the phase that you can still talk to them. You can click on the record. And you see that things take time to pull up. That's why I always like to have it. You print it out and you put that in the file that you have set up for the veteran affairs. That way you have all, okay, we already know the next code. This is not my next code. Remember, I'm doing 56 12 10. So if you go back to the scenario, we pull up our forecast. Now we're going to do our live demonstration. I'm always trying to do everything so you can see how it all goes. So now I've looked at the forecast, right? I forecasted my pre-solicitation notice. I was trying to see if they had one. I went on sam.gov. So this is how it works. Then I paste all the details in the opportunity tracker. Then I went and searched it on usaspending.gov for past contracts. And then I use findings, all my findings to fill out my Intel brief template. Okay. So this is the flow of how you walk through each phase of the process. And I wish I had a really good example, which I'm trying to build a repository for us. So when that's why I went and created this different website. I put the tools in here. So each training you'll see me putting different pieces in here, building the workflow so you know how a workflow goes. Why I had to do this first before I could go to second, third, and fourth. Why I had to go. Now we know we're doing veteran affairs, but say, for sake, we have veteran affairs, and then we have also Department of Education, because I needed you to see that they're not the same. So with the Department of Education, we will click on Department of Education. Theirs is not the same. You see, everybody's doing something different. But I want to look at their procurement forecasts, right? Because those are my top two agencies I've identified that I only want to work with. You see, theirs is different. So then they're giving you instructions on who to send your questions, concerns to the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, the OSDBUs, right? Then this is where you're going to send them the information. And then this is where you see they don't even have that web. They want you to please update your capabilities. They're telling you what you need to do for their agency. And they're still working on some things. But you can go back and they have an Excel. So you can also download the Excel, look at the document, because and then you create those pivot tables. So because you need to know how to do this. So say we pick this one. This is a new requirement, but I love it when it's a recompete, because you see here's a recompete. That means they buying it again, right? So now when we see that thing that says they're buying again, but how much is this opportunity for? So you freeze that top row so you can look. You freeze it. Where am I freeze at? Here it is. Okay, so that way we can go scroll down. Oh, I freeze the wrong one. So let me go above it so that we can scroll down. Let's see if it's gonna, no, it's acting up. But because I might be freezing the wrong one, but I want to keep the training going. We're looking for the estimated value of 150K. So this is something I probably could do. It's in my pipeline. I have commercial past performance for this month, but what is the contract vehicle is asking for? Is it a GSA schedule? Is it what is it? Do I have a GSA schedule? This is how you start learning. Okay, I got the GSA schedule. This is my estimated dollar. So this is the one you're going to copy out. You keep the tracking number because you're going to have to reach out to the contracting professional or whoever it is. So then you just go over, get all the information. We know it's in we have the contact. It's Tracy. We have her email. And they're telling us when the date of award. But we're trying to go to 2025 because it's already been awarded and all that information. But this is the stuff you're going to capture in your sheet. So if you want to, but then I'm going to have to add, because this is how you track it, because you're going to have different agencies. You got your tracking number. So then what I'll do is I'll add a different topic. So if it's they call it tracking number, then you just hit and tracking number, or you can create a sheet for each. But then if you create too many sheets, then how are you going to keep up with all your data, right? You need everything in a consolidated place so you can go back. And then you can add a column in here that says, okay, this is from the procurement forecast. So instead of we putting veteran affairs, the sub-tier, the office, and the NAICS, or we can just insert right here to the left, and I want to track what kind of stage it's in. So then we can put stage. And we know that this is the procurement forecast, and do drop downs for everything. I'm telling you, we just want to keep everything drop downs, because then you're not fat fingering it. So when you create your dashboard, because see, when you're ready to do automation, that's when you're going to have this stuff in here. This came from the procurement forecast. So we know there's a couple of phases that has to go after this. We need to be looking out for the source of sought notice if it's published, or say they don't want to put it out as a source of sought notice. They want to put it out as a combined synopsis. They want to do it all at one time because it's under the simplified acquisition. And see, that is why you have to go to the training. So when I'm talking about these different things, the government life cycle, the different stages and stuff like that, you'll know what I'm talking about. And that's why it's important. And then we will list that tracking number, which agency, this is Department of Education. And then if it's a sub tier or office, if not, never leave stuff blank. Put NA. Put NA, because when you go building your dashboards, it's gonna mess up your data. You want everything should have it. Then you can put your color codes. You can put in here, you can do a data validation. I want to put a drop down in here. I'm going to add a rule. I'm going to put a drop down. I'm going to make it a color. I want procurement forecast because we know it's more to come. Put that purple, and boom, you're starting to build something that you can use and easily add things to. And then wrap your text. You want to wrap your text so you can keep everything in the columns so you can see all the information, put your tables, you do whatever you want to do. But the point of this training is to show you how it all flows together, because many of you, you'll get stuck on different phases. You get stuck on stage one, you get stuck on stage two, or it gets from stage one, but it never makes it to stage two. Then the stuff goes stale. You missed opportunity. You didn't put the due date on here, so you missed the solicitation due date. So you wasn't at the pre-bid conference, and it all and then that's what happens. So you can put as much as you want in this tracker, how much you want, how less you want, but I had to give you a start. We have to start somewhere, and you got to start building. But then you need to know why are you adding other things? Why are you adding this additional thing? Should it be added to this sheet? And you want to keep it clean as possible. So that way, when you're filtering, you can just keep filtering. You can put those filters up here. So say I only want to look at, I want to put a filter on here, and I only want to look at my Department of Veteran Affairs opportunities and not my Department of Education. So, because once you start adding, so we're going to put DOE. So once you start adding in everything and you put those filters on, then you can say, well, I only want to look at veteran affairs right now. So then you would just clear, and then I only want to look at veteran affairs, and then you filter it out. Okay. And I don't have anything in the stages. And this is how you start automating. This is how you start building, but you got to start. So when you get started, then when you get in your sessions, then you're gonna have those questions with your counselor. So let's keep going. Okay, so now we didn't got the procurement forecast. We downloaded it, right? We found what we wanted on here on this procurement forecast. I'm looking at a recompete only because we want to look and see if there's any data. Well, they didn't give us the contract number. And if we would have had the contract number, then we could take, because they only gave us this code. But the way I do it now is when you're trying to find out if there's any recompetes, they just go into FPDS, right? Go back to the FPDS. We're going to do a new search. So we're going to hit search, right? Then we want to look up the Department of Education. So that way we can hit the advanced search, but sometimes they want that NAICS code in here first because that's the search criteria. You're going to clear all the old stuff for veteran affairs. We don't want veteran affairs. We want Department of Education. So what you're going to have to know is key with this is you have to enter, go to the frequent, you have to enter it exactly how they tell you, or it's going to come back with negative results, or it's not going to give you, they tell you exactly how you have to search it. You have to exactly say yes, 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 no, no, that way. Because when you're trying to look at purchase orders, or if you want to look at delivery orders, or those different things, they said free text, they'll tell you exactly how it has to be. Because once you're trying to look for states, so say I'm only wanting the state of Maryland, you have to go in there and put it with all caps for the state of Maryland, because they'll tell you free text, it has to either be Virginia or Virgin, whatever. It has to be some part, but it has to be in caps. So they'll tell you exactly how to do your searches and to find that information. Okay, so I've talked about that because I didn't want to not get. So then what you want to do is go in here, advanced search if you don't know, and then we want to do the agency name. So let's say we want the agency name, and then we want the Department of Education. So you can look at all of the department. Make sure I'm spelling that. Okay, and then see if it will search. And you see, that's why I like to just know exactly how they're putting it, because sometimes it has to be an exact. And if it's not exact, it won't show you. That's why I have to go in that Easy Gov and look at it to see. But we're going to just, for the sake of time, you can always go look that stuff up later and then build your criteria. You see how it said agency names? You're seeing what the criteria, and you just keep adding and then put the modifications, so forth and so on. Okay, so now what step are we on now? So we searched the forecast. We were looking because we were trying to find some contract awards for recompete. All right, so let's go back to Veteran Affairs because we know Veteran Affairs is in here. So we went to the Veteran Affairs. We built the Veteran Affairs criteria. We're looking at only modifications and we're looking at facility. So we're looking right here. So let's go back to the slide so we can see what phase we're on. So we've searched. Now we want to go in SAM.gov because we looked at the forecasted, the pre solicitations and notices. We want to see what opportunities are out there. So now we're going to use that 56, 12, 10. So then now we're going to go to the SAM. So now we're in SAM. We're going to go back to home because I always start all over because I like to get my search. But if you're signed in, you can save your searches. All right. Then you'll have it. But the first time you have to be able to search, then you save the search. So let's do advance so we can walk through this. All right. So now we're going back to the product service information. We already have our NAICS. We're doing 56, 12, and 10, right? That's the facility support. Boom. So these are the different opportunities. We have 506 results. Now, to narrow that down, because remember, we're looking at different types of notices. We're looking at award notice. We're looking at solicitation, the sources sought notice that we were discussing, and they're different, and it's everybody. But if you want to focus on an agency, so now ours is Veteran Affairs, right? Because we know we've got the code in here. Now we want to look at Veteran Affairs so we can narrow it down because we was at 506. So now we're going to do Veteran Affairs and you got to learn your codes because you'll know that way you can go fast. And then remember, all of this you're going to put in your template that you're building. So we know 036 is Veteran Affairs. So now we've only went down to how many? 29 results. So you see, they had everything in there because when you first start out, you don't know what agency you want. You just want to see which agency is doing all the buying. I want to know how many opportunities did Veteran Affairs buy, how many opportunities did DOD, because that way I know there's more opportunities for me to win work. But if you go into those agencies that only buying two or three things at a time or each quarter, each month, then how are you going to win any work? So you're trying to go, you're looking at to see who's doing all the buying, what are they buying, how are they buying, are they doing GSA schedule, whatever. So let's keep going. All right. So then if you want to only look at the dates, right, then you go and you filter out by dates. If you're looking at any time right now, we don't know what we don't know. So but we want to look at the type of notices. We don't want an award right now because we're trying to win a contract. So we're going to look at special notices. So when you go to the sam.gov help desk, they'll tell you what everything is. The special notices mostly is the intent to sole source, special events. They put all of that under the special notices. Sources sought, those are those requests for information. The sources sought notice, that's the pre. All right. And then pre solicitation. So if I only want to look at pre solicitations, now look at how many, we only got 9 opportunities for the solicitations. But if I want to look at sources sought notice both, because these both basically are pre-solicitations, then now we have 11 results. So you see they're filtering things differently. But okay, we've done our sources sought notice. We identified all the opportunities we want to go after. And then we're going to, this is the way you market. This is the correct way of marketing to these agencies. They're asking for something. We're sending in our bid. We're letting them know, hey, we can do this work. This is the way. Now, if you keep sending those generic capability statements and wondering why people are not looking at them, well, people send us generic capability statements saying, hey, I do IT services, or hey, I'm doing SEO. We barely even look at those emails. We don't look at them. It's the same principle applies. Apply the same principle that you apply to yourself because we don't just look at all that market. We don't have time. We got so many things going on that if I didn't put a solicitation out there, if I didn't put a source of sought notice out there, why are you sending me this email? I'm getting 300 emails a day. I'm trying to go through them. Then the director is asking for this. Oh, by the way, the administrative change, administrative changes. So now I got to do all these modifications. So look at it from the contracting perspective. Why am I reaching out to this contracting specialist? Why am I reaching out to the small business specialist? Have a reason. Once you've identified that reason, okay, I'm reaching out because I want to be a subcontractor. I'm reaching out because this pre bid conference is coming up, and I'm sending in my questions and answer. I'm reaching out because I want to know, is any primes looking for a subcontractor? Have a reason for reaching out, and this is the best reason there is. It takes time, but you're learning, you're growing, you're learning how to craft documents for an agency. So when you get to the RFP, so let's see if they have any. So now we're going to close that out. We know we've already get this phase. So now let's see if they got any solicitations. So now we're going to go in here and we're going to click on solicitation and then combine synopsis. That's, like I told you, that's them trying to get it all done at once. They trying to hurry up. They don't want to do all that. So then you go, now these are the solicitations. This is one coming up on June 23rd. Give yourself time to respond. I've seen too many people, 7 days before you just found out about this, now you're trying to write a solicitation. And then you wonder why you're frustrated, you're upset, you haven't correctly answered all of the questions, and each of them have a different mission. So when you click on that solicitation, you see you can also follow. You have to be signed in. You can download the information. You get all of this information. You build those folders. Well, we see this is a service disabled, veteran owned small business. If you're not a service disabled, veteran owned small, that already disqualified you. So you already know I got to build me an opportunity. You're defining your criteria. When you went in that criteria, you know that my NAICS code is this, right? However, my PSC code is not J045. What is my PSC code? And I'm not a service disabled veteran, so I'm automatically disqualified from this. Now, however, what I can do is reach out to a service disabled small business and ask them, are they looking for a sub to join their team? I have this code, but I do not have the PSC code. So you see, it's a reason why you're reaching out to the prime contractors. It's because you're a veteran owned small business, but you want to go after this opportunity. Because when I won one of my contracts as a contracting specialist, I was under a service disabled veteran owned small business because I was only a veteran. However, they needed a subject matter expert in contracting, and they put me on the team. So that is other ways. But this time I was an independent contractor. I had to come on as a W 2. So there's going to be times when you're going to have to change. I know you want to, but you need to build that experience. So sometimes you might have to come on as a W. No, yes, I was a W 2 employee, but I was a contract specialist working for Andrews Air Force Base. You see what I'm saying? So that's the difference. You work, but you have to work for that service disabled veteran owned small business. They had too many 1099ers, so you have to come on as a W 2. So you have to learn, and they were willing to work with me, but they told me that, and I had to choose. That was a business decision I had to make after I done, but I really wanted to work there. You see what I'm saying? So those are the decisions you're going to have to make. And then you'll see all the documents, the attachments, download everything, put it in your folder. But if it's not for you, then move on. Don't spend time on stuff that you have not even qualified for. You have to qualify for it. So this is how you pre-qualify things. Do I have enough time to respond? Have I missed a question and answer date? So that way I can see who are the prime contractors and I can be a subcontractor for. These are the things you have to do. And these are the things that have not been tied together with most small business. They don't understand how they all fit. And they be like, oh, I'm going to skip this step. I'm going to skip this step. But then you get to the meeting, they be like, okay, so why are you here? Because you skipped so many steps. You don't even know why you're there. You just want to work. Well, you have to know why you're there. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So we've got this opportunity. We've put everything on our tracker. We've did it. Now we need to get the POCs. So now we need the agency POC. We want this opportunity. We've got the POC for that agency. And how you do that is you go back to that document. We go back to the same because I've got too many windows open. Now I'm gonna have to start closing things. Okay, so then I'm going in here right now to see if I've missed a question and answer date. But they put the POC here. But if you reach out to the POC and it's after after, because this is a solicitation, remember, you have to know the stage you're in, because on a solicitation, you have to answer before the question and answer date. And then what they'll do, if you did miss it, then you go in here and you find the question and answer, because they normally upload that, and then you can see and review, no, this is not for me, and then you move on. And you keep, and that is how you rinse and repeat. So let me go back to the slides to make sure we didn't miss any steps. So we did the search, we found an opportunity. So first we searched the procurement forecast. Then we went to sam.gov. So I should have put that on a different lines, because I want to make this as easy as possible for you when you're building up your processes. The first thing is should have been forecast pre-solicitation note. Then enter on the next tab, search sam.gov, so we can post the paste that opportunity in the tracker that we've identified. And then now we're going to search USA spending for past awards, so we can see how many times have they awarded the facility management. So let's go to usspending.gov. So now we're going to, let me close some of these things because I don't want to get too deep. Okay, so now we're on USA spending. Let's start from the beginning again. So now we're going to search USA spending because we want to look at the veteran affairs to see how many times they purchase. So then we're going to hit search. Then right here is where you're going to do your filter. So say you only want to look at the last year or the fiscal year. You can just click on the button, your fiscal year. So you can do custom dates or the fiscal year. All right. Then you want to look at the kind of contracts, right? We don't want to look at everything. We don't want to look at grants unless you're looking for grants, direct payments, loans, none of that. All we're looking for is contracts, or if you have the contract and vehicle contract, then the contract. So you're going to click both. All right. So now you've got your filters, because when you try to pull in too much data, it's just so much data and you don't know what you're looking at. So now we want to go and look at the agency. So what agency we just chose? We chose Veteran Affairs. So now we're looking for Veteran Affairs. We clicked on Veteran Affairs. And then if we want to look at the different locations, say we only want to look at Maryland or US, then you just put the United States. And then if we only want to look at Maryland, so I only want to look at Maryland because I'm trying to narrow it down so we can go through the information. Then you just keep going down. Recipients, if you want to look at recipients, the NAICS code, we definitely want to look at the NAICS code. Remember, we wanted 56, 12, and 10. There it is. So now we have our NAICS, and then we're going to search. You could do the PSC code, whatever. Boom. So now we're gathering the data. Okay. So now it's telling you what has happened by month. Then you could do by quarter, the fiscal quarter. Remember, it's fiscal quarter, or you can do by year. That's up to you. Then the place of performance, because we've already said we wanted the place of performance. You can type all of that in here. They're telling you what is in each performance, but I want to go in deeper so you can see how it looks. Okay, so let's go right here. So here are the contracts right here. We have 580 contracts been awarded. So these are the people who's been awarded. So say you're looking for a prime and you want to work for them. But I always tell you, if you're a brand new business and you're trying to reach out to DLH Solutions, this is what they might not talk to you. You understand what I'm saying? You have to reach out to people that are smalls, especially when you're just getting started. Now, sometimes the large, if you know somebody in the large, they'll work with you. Sometimes they won't. So let's go through it. So you looked at the veteran affairs, so you see they're purchasing. You see what NAICS code that they do. If you want to look at all of the things the veteran affairs, then you will have to remove that filter for that particular NAICS code, so you can look at the different things that they're going after. Okay, so but let's go back up here. So then they're telling you it was only how many contract vehicles? It was only 13, but this is only FY25. Remember, we're still just started FY25 October 1. That's because it's fiscal year. But if I was to change it and do 2 fiscal years, and then you sit and update it, that way you can see more information. Hold, let me hit submit, and then you'll see more information to come up. So it was 38. So that's why I always do different ones of that nature. So then when you click on the prime, so say you want to work with this prime right here, you're going to click on their information and you'll just get the different views. You've seen they've done so many buys. You see the picture, they're telling you transactions over time, quarter, or month. And then you see they've worked with the Department of Veteran Affairs, and then they do have a schedule. Then which codes? So I want to come, I need, they're done. So say we had 561320. So then I will reach out and tell them, look, we also have 561320. You see what I'm saying? And we're looking for the different PSC codes. But if we don't have the PSC codes, then why are we reaching out to them? So it's how you find the data that you need, and if it's not your state in here. So this one says now on the thing they might be registered in the state of Maryland, but you see where all the awards is: South Carolina, Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, Illinois. You see what I'm saying? So that is the difference. And we can also look at the top oh yeah, they've already put there the top 5 NAICS and the agencies and the sub agencies. So if you want to look at another, you will do the exact same thing. Well, I don't want to work with them. They don't even have it. So let's go to quality. I mean, it takes time. Research takes time, and doing the right research takes time. So now this company right here is an AA recipient. So say you want to work with an AA firm, then you will go look at them and then start looking at their detailed information to see, well, I want it. Oh, they got DOD as well. So then is this a good prime contract I want to reach out to? So that's why I say when you get in these sessions, it's a lot to cover. It's a lot of information, and it's repetition, repetition. So we started recording these trainings to show you all that entails, so that way you know how the pieces fit together. So, but say, no, we want to go with somebody who is more, then you can filter it, because you see they've already filtered by the dollar amount. Say we want to work with someone maybe 4 million. Okay, this is no, because they've done a lot. But or you could just look at the different agencies, how much they've made, so you can kind of gauge, um, are they going to work with me? Because basically we're trying to figure out, are they going to work with me? Are they too large? Are they not going to work? So then you can sometimes, once you download it, sometimes it'll allow you to download it, sometimes it won't, because they've updated these systems. So you will have to see, yes, they do, because we've narrowed it down. We don't have, and it takes time to download this, and then you can filter it out, create your pivot table so you can see which apes, how many times have they won these different opportunities, and that way you can have it saved, your saved search, and you call it whatever title you want to call it for the opportunities. And this is basically how you get through the market research. Because it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but I just had to show you how it goes. Because you're looking at all the past awards. USA Spending is all the past awards. And then you take that information and you fill out the template. So if you wanted to save that link, say I wanted to save this link and come back and review it later. You copy it, you paste it, you put it in your Intel in your notes. You could just put it in your notes section, research later. Make sure I'm spelling everything right. Research later. All jacked up. Hold on. Let me just go and check this. There we go. Later, and then you put the code in there. So that way you have, and you build in your to-do list, basically. Your next steps in your to-do list. You can go in there, you can put your little check blocks in here. So once you complete this task, it'll just put it out for you. So I believe in everything. And then say I need to assign this task. No, I want to assign this task to my VA. So then you go in here and then you put insert, and then I want to make a comment, and then you add your comment, and then you can also, I'm going to send this to Akiesha, and then you just hit add Akiesha or Apex or whoever is it, and then you add, and then you assign it, and then you assign it to them. Hey, I need you to do this research, such as such, and then it'll notify them, and then you can communicate, and you keep everything in that area for you. So that way you can have all your notes, all your sections. And then we've already changed this to the Veteran Affairs. This is our agency Intel Brief, Intelligent Brief, whatever you want to call it. Call everything what you need to call it so you can just get the work done. And then you go from there. Everything goes in here. Everything for that agency. The top agency NAICS codes, you're gonna put them in. Okay, so they didn't use 56. You put all that in here. And then all of that goes under the top NAICS, and then you put your top PSC codes. So you understand how it all goes together. Because we're gonna close in a minute, and I have to get through the last of these slides. And I know it's gonna take a while. That's why I had to stay on task and on target. So your findings is to fill out that brief. All right. Top three mistakes I need you to avoid: using the wrong NAICS. All right. Make sure that's why we did the research. That's why we crosswalked it. That's why we did everything. Because not everything, you'll think that's your NAICS code, 54, 15, 19, but you'll see you barely get anything in there because that is a catch-all. They use that for all the other things. So you'll notice that as you continue to do the research, and you won't have to do the research again. You just go back to your sheet that you built and not saving or tracking your research. Many times you didn't research this 7 times because you never saved it, or you saved it and you don't know where you saved it at. And then you get in your session and you don't know where your notes at, you don't know where anything's at. And then before the hour is up, you haven't got anything accomplished. And then you're frustrated with your business. You want to give up because I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. It's homework. This is just like school. You got to do the chapter, read the chapter, do the work, and then you're gonna get graded on it. How you get graded on is you win contracts, you win team of partners, you go to these industry days, you do all that. Okay, and then next you got to reach out. Reaching out without doing your researches. They asking you, okay, um, why are you here? Well, I want to sell you janitorial service. Well, they never buy janitor services here. They only buy the custodial services. And then so when they're searching it, although it's the same thing, they're using a different name. So that's why I'm telling you, do your research, know what they're calling it, call it what they're calling it. If they want a virtual assistant, call it virtual assistant. They want us administrative assistant, call it administrative assistant. Understand who your customer is. Just like anything, you have to understand. Okay. And then this. Okay. So now we need to talk about prepare for your counseling session. All right. First thing I need you to do is look up your top 1 to 3 NAICS codes, your PSC codes. All right. I've given you the tools. I've showed you how to do it. You're going to get the handouts. The only handout I believe you're not, the Google Sheet, it was just hard to do. So I showed you how to create the Google Sheet. It's 3 tabs. That is it, because it just wasn't saved right. So that's why I put it in the video, but you have all the other handouts. Find at least one opportunity on sam.gov, or if you're using Emma, Maryland Marketplace, State, if you're local, whatever you're using, find that one opportunity. Complete one market intel brief in Google Docs so you can share, because you can easily share with your counselor. Hey, look, this is what I'm doing. They can make notes. You can make notes, all your notes in one section. And then if y'all want to record the session so you can have it for later, however that you want to do it, you got that tools that's going to make you successful. Then have all your specific questions for areas you need help with. I need help with outreach. I need help with certifications. I need help with targeting these agencies. I don't, or do you have any information on these agencies? Have you done anything with this agency before? Because I'm telling you, these things are going to matter. And then and even, how you reach out. Let me go to that because we didn't cover that before we close. Have your outreach. You got your outreach email, create your scripts. Have a little script. Start keep email script 1, intro to the small business specialist, introducing your company, because the small business specialist you can talk to. They're just the mediators. They're not the ones you're working with. They are there to help you get prepared. And good morning. My name is such and such. I am the lead business consultant, my company name, certification status. That's when it matters. Now, when you talking to the prime, they want to know your specialty first. So each email is customized differently. They want to know I'm specialized in contracting, or I'm specializing in this, and I have certifications. And if you want to let them know, keep it direct, keep it simple, keep it easy for them to read, or they're gonna skip it, they're gonna delete it. And if it's possible to schedule a call or ask them about any upcoming events that you can attend or any outreach opportunities. Boom, keep it short, sweet, and simple. Make sure you got your name, your email, phone number, and your website and your link to your capability statement. Because we can put that on DSBS now. You got that link to that capability statement. Build your scripts. Build them because you're going to need them. You need to save as much time and then highlight them. I didn't highlight them on here, but you will highlight them so that way you do not forget that I need to change this information. And when you automate everything, that's going to be that's going to be so much better. But you got to build it first. Once you build it, then you can automate it. And then the last thing before we get ready to act for our next last Q&A, because it's time to go and it was so much I still wanted to cover, but I had to squeeze it all in. Stay consistent. Keep your folders updated. Track your outreach. Use your market research to build real agency relationships. And don't forget to continue to join us for upcoming training. When y'all give that feedback, I try to craft that training. I try to incorporate every question that I get because another company might have that question. And that way, because sometimes I could be far removed because I've been there, done that. So I'm on to the next thing. But I may have forgot something. So that's why it's important that you ask those questions. And then once y'all ask those questions, then I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, let me tell you how to do that. Because I've been there, done that, but I don't want to get far removed. And that's where you dare to keep us from getting far removed. And then for our additional resources, you know what to do. You have to sign up. I know it's going to take some time. That is why we're putting this training together for you. So that way, when you do get in, you're ready. And then you can get those customized specialized answers for your company because each company is different. We try to go over the basic overall that would apply to every small business. And then you get the eaches when you're in your session. Also, I always tell everyone to go to SBA.gov because they have a lot of resources. And then Neil McDonald's, the GovCon Chamber, stay on LinkedIn. He has training every day for you too. So you can go to different resources to get the training. Focus on the training that you need and where you are at that moment. Don't try to do everything because you can't do everything at once. And then the final, we got some time for questions. And then I hope this training was helpful you. I hope I didn't fire hose you, but I had to get this information to you so you know how to walk through the process. All right, Yasmin, questions.
Thank you, Akiesha. That was excellent as always and very detailed. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's look at the questions. Somebody said that how can this be accelerated with AI? Can we populate a template automatically? I'm sure there is a way to do that. And Akiesha and I are going to look into that and see if we can have a future offering when we're a bit more well versed in how to use AI in this.
Yes.
Okay, so thanks for that question. How do I find a prime interested in a specific opportunity so I can pitch to be a sub?
Mhm. Okay, so now remember when we was going through our walkthrough. So that means you found that particular prime, or is it a recompete? Number one, is it a recompete? Because that means you knew they had their contract. So if it's a recompete, I went and looked them up on their website. First of all, I looked on their website to see are they ever hiring on any subcontracts. Do they have a subcontracting portal? So just like we did our agency intel brief, we're going to do a prime contractor intel brief for that particular agency. You're going to follow them on LinkedIn. You're going to follow everything because you got to learn about them first. Then you need to know, do they ever or do they want you to be a W 2? Because some companies, prime contractors, will only take you as a W 2. And so that's going to be one of your challenges. So for this particular opportunity, I had to be a W 2 or a 1099er because that particular prime contractor will only take W 2. So that, first of all, we got to learn what who that have they worked with subcontractors before, and then looking, and once you sign up for their subcontractor portal, if they have one, because some of these small businesses, they do have portals, and then ask to speak their small business liaison. Don't spend all this time doing all this research and all, and they won't even work with small businesses. So that is definitely key to understanding. Reach out, find out a little bit about them first. Do a little research. It ain't gonna take but 15, 20 minutes. do that research, and then to see, oh yeah, I should proceed or I should not. Because if they're not responsive, which I've seen a lot of prime contractors are not responsive to small businesses, and then you just spent all that time and now you done got frustrated. No, move on to the next one. Just put in your comments section awaiting reply and move to the next one, and so forth and so on. Okay,
Okay,
next. Hmm.
thanks. Thanks for that.
Hmm.
All right, are we going to send out the slides? Yes, we always send out the slides and the recording, so you can review it and share with your colleagues if you wish to.
Yeah.
And it always stays free and available to watch both on our website and our YouTube channel. Okay, where can I send follow-up questions? Are you open to taking follow-up questions, Akiesha, via email?
Well, how I do that is because like you building your business, I'm building mine. I will try to get those questions because what I do is when I receive extra questions, I incorporate into the training, the next training that we have with the Apex Accelerate, or I create a LinkedIn blog post. So you are definitely welcome to send me, DM me your questions on LinkedIn because I use that to build the LinkedIn content, so you'll have a repository that you can visit because I can't possibly take it's too many people that reach out to me. And then I don't want you to feel neglected or that I'm not answering. It's just so many. So that's why I said when you send me that message, then I can send you the link to the training that I built. So that way, if I get that same question again, definitely I post it out or I record a mini YouTube because these are long and sometimes people don't have the 2 hours, they only have 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So then I record on the YouTube channel. If you visit the YouTube channel, that question may have that been answered already, and then you can watch that 10 to 15 minute snapshot, that little nugget. So yes, definitely let me get the questions, but please be patient with me because I do have a lot. I do have client work. I am a coach and consultant, so I am working. So, but I definitely want to answer those questions because they are valuable and it helps all of us, the community, the small business community. So DM me on LinkedIn.
Okay, yes, I know Akiesha is very busy, but I know she always does her best to assist our clients, which we appreciate.
Mhm.
Okay, so the last question is, so as an LLC, we don't have to, sorry, sorry, I can't read this morning. We don't want to be subcontracting as a W-2, is that correct?
Yes, I'm a LLC. I had to take that W-2 work because I needed to pay my bills. I had to. So, do you have somebody on staff that's going to still be doing the BD while you're performing? Because sometimes you have to self-perform. And it depends. Will they transition you to a 1099? Or if they won't transition you to a 10, you've got that year experience. So now you can use that year experience to go get another opportunity as a subcontractor. It depends on what the objective is. Are they going to give you a good reference that you can use to build your business? Because key personnel is definitely good past performance that you can use because I use my key personnel experience to win the subcontract because sometimes they will not give you the LLC as a LLC, but I had a team too. So while I was self performing, I had somebody still doing my BD. I had my social media person, and you don't have to have them full time. You could just have them part time or as is. Have them doing a couple of hours of your marketing and stuff. So that way, while you're self performing, because it depends on can I do this? How long is it for? Can we, it's a lot of business decisions you have to make, and it messes with your certification because if you're not 100% fully, it will mess with your certification. So you definitely better have them certifications before because they're going to ask you who's running your business while you over there self performing. So it's a lot of details that go in there. But I had already been established for a couple of years when I had to take this W-2 position as a contract specialist because I needed that experience. I had never worked with Andrews Air Force Base before, and I needed to get in there somehow. And then once I got in there, I wooed. I worked hard. I did everything I was supposed to do. So that way, when I did come off the contract, I could come back this time as a subcontractor saying, yes, I've worked with them. I have a relationship with this agency. I've talked to I had all of those. So they were using my experience and my relationships for that contract. Because see, we have to add value. If you don't have add value to the relationship, there's no relationship. I'm telling you, it has to be a win-win. It has to be. I
Yes, that's
hope I
what we
answered that
want, a
question.
win-win. All right, well, that's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank Akiesha for this excellent presentation. Obviously, if you want to follow up with her, interested in her services, all her contact information is in the slides, which I'll be sending you.
Yes.
And if you have any further questions or you need detailed assistance, please reach out to your Apex Accelerator counselor. Akiesha is a former Apex Accelerator counselor, so that just goes to show you the standard of quality we have here at the Apex Accelerator. And we hope to see you all next month for Akiesha's next class, which is, what is the next class? Can you remember?
Was trying to think too. I said, I'll be doing so many
I
classes.
think
I said,
is
I don't
it.
even
I think
know.
it's maybe it's proposal writing. I'm not sure.
Oh,
In
oh, that's gonna be a
July,
good
let
one. I
me.
believe it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
Let me see.
No, it's not. I got that wrong. It's how to
Uh,
find and bid on $25,000 or less
oh, that's
contracts,
gonna be a yeah, that's gonna be a deep
otherwise
one.
known as simplified acquisitions. And actually, it's probably one of our most attended classes. And
It
that is going
is.
to be in June. That's in July
Yes.
17th. So go
Okay.
ahead and register for that. All right, everybody, take care. Stay cool. It's very hot today.
Yes, it is.
We'll see you again soon. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye now.